Joseph Bud Ahearn is well known and respected for his executive leadership. Following a 34-year-long career in the Air Force, Bud joined CH2M Hill. His career represents a lifelong journey of learning and applying that knowledge to find innovative solutions to challenges at work, home, and in life.
What is partnering to you? And how do you see partnering and the promise and the potential of partnering? You follow me? Do you see it from your platform, only your platform, about how you might bring, or do you see it from the client's perspective? And I would commend to you that the greatest asset you'll ever have is your client base. And the more you know about your client base, the more competitive you are. And the more the strength of your relationship with your client base will open opportunities that you haven't ever dreamt of. So partnering, to me, and what I've learned how to do it as a client and then as a provider both, is creating a bridge of trust and confidence so clear that you hold and totally committed, your heart, your mind, and your soul, to the goals and the strategies of the firm, the clients that you're serving. The second thing in partnership is the common goals, and the next one is common strategies. And you have to really work hard to build the common strategies to get it all aligned. The third component of it is common performance metrics. This is where things really get exciting. Now you're going to measure progress, and you're not only measuring the quality of the deliverable, but you're measuring the value of the creation, the sharing of the creation, common performance metrics. You know, the hardest part of partnering is actually defining the metrics and then taking the act to measure. If partnering is a dominant theme of this venue, which I believe it to be, is that partnering is a very defined art, and it is embedded deeply in the worldview and the core values of those who wish to participate. And the notion of how you integrate your core values and your worldview after you have brought your talents is the defining element. What you're trying to do with breakthrough performance in partnering is to get away from following and to get out front of the pack. This notion of leadership is a behavioral act with purpose and respect. And if we don't function both as the art of human engagement and the science of management and the fusion of the two, is that we often lose our followers. And any time a team comes together to fulfill a common purpose, you actually are building a new culture. You build a new team, you build a new culture, one project, one endeavor at a time. And oftentimes it's the most frequently overlooked act in building and belonging to a potent human force. Ingenuity, being able to read situations and not to be so hardwired that you cannot adapt and flex without losing your guiding principles. But ingenuity, being able to deal with the surprise of most days and being able to adapt and keep moving forward. What is virtue? Remember in your rearing what virtue is? It's a good habit. A good habit. Nothing more complicated than that. Mostly connected with caring, competence, and commitment to one another. The essence of leadership is change, and it is. And when you're moving into the idea of integration and collaboration and partnering, that's clearly change. You're asking for something that's different from incremental change. You're asking for something that's different from fast change. That's what happens over in the marketplace. You're asking for something that's new and lasting. A standard is the platform upon which you and your team stand that demonstrate what you stand for, how you stand out, what you stand upon, and when you stand together. A standard is perhaps one of the most significant elements of a culture. And when we come together, one project at a time, with disparate people coming from all different skills and places, is that it's very important to answer those questions. What is the standard? What are the components? And how do we get our team's cultural aligned so that we're all committed? Bring the whole package to work and take the time to engage your people so well that you know their package, what they've got, what their connectivity is. That, by the way, takes time, and that means that you do engagement with people first rather than last. So the idea is leadership is a selfless act, and we're all in this alone together. If you don't take anything from this particular chart other than that, is that we're all in this alone together as a selfless act of leadership. Who are you? Are you self-aware? And you understand the dynamic of you in your family life, your friendship life, your professional life. And we usually draw from well springs. We examine who we are and begin to work hard at defining a self-aware set of behaviors. If I'm going to build a company, maybe I ought to become enormously self-aware. I ought to get to know myself extremely well, and I ought to get to know others extremely well. And where would you start with that? Self-awareness, by the way, is the single most defining characteristic of high-performing companies. People who really know who they are and how they work together to fulfill common intent and objective. If you're going to soar in your professional and in your whole life, you must know yourself as well as your craft. If you're going to soar, if you're going to catch the thermals on the edge of the California mountains and to soar in your professional and your whole life, one must have an enormous amount of courage to do just that. What's courage? The resistance to fear, the mastery of fear, but not the elimination of fear. Living life with purpose and living life with intention. Now, this notion comes from belief systems that are around the world, but it also comes from the idea of respect. To look one in the eye and believe that you authentically, and the word is to make a difference, whatever the hell that means, but you really want to find a purposeful, intentional life. You know, the other thing that we really like to do is to build and to belong to a potent human force so significant we can make our purpose happen. Listen to that again. To build and to belong to a potent human force so significant we can make our purpose happen. That's an act of selflessness. Building and belonging. By the way, it's an intrinsic part of our human nature to belong. But to build and to belong is cool because you're creating stuff, services, real value for people. And then the question is, what else? What else is there in a great life? And the answer would be service. To give, to contribute, in anticipation that the principle of reciprocity is real. If I give, and sometime down the timeline, when I need and I call, you haul. So this notion of flexibility and adaptability, the notion of life planning, because life planning will enable you to seize the moment along the pathway of opportunity. I'm going to quiet now. I think I'm out of airspeed and altitude, and so are you. But I hope this helps a little bit. The theme was the leadership components of humankind are essential to your agenda of partnership and breakthrough performance. And I wanted to show you some scholarship as well as some experiential stuff that went along with your aspiration. Thanks for the opportunity to participate.